So Jesus not only said, in this world will you have trials and tribulations, will we experience tough times and challenges, he also said something after that, and it was very clear. Don't worry about it. I think it's quoted in the real world translation of the Bible. Don't worry about it, y'all. I think that's what Jesus said. Don't worry about it, you guys. I have overcome the trials and tribulations of the world. And he did so by teaching us about, yes, unconditional love, but also teaching us about grace. Jesus had a different God than the God that had been taught prior to his coming onto the earth plane, because his God was a God that we could call El Shaddai, the God of more than enough, a God of largesse, a God that was beyond our human knowing, not El Cheapo, the God of not enough, or the God of limitation, but a God that was something way more than we could see through the current experiences, through the trials and tribulations. And yet the promise was that through the trials and tribulations, you and I would move. This too shall pass is one of my favorite scriptures. We would go through those trials and tribs and live, yes, somewhat at the effect of them, but that those trials and tribulations, the challenges, would call us up to a higher level. Is that how you see God? That's the God of El Shaddai, that stretches our tent, that stretches the stakes, the territory in which you and I will think and move and live and have our being. I saw a friend earlier this week, and I said, so how are you doing? How you doing? And she said, well, under the circumstances. And I was like, wait a second. What are you doing under the circumstances? You do not want to live under the circumstances. That's like building a tent in the shadow of the valley of death. We want to keep on walking, right? It's like, whoa, what are you doing under there? And she said, wow, that's a pretty good point. You're right. I don't want to be under the circumstances. I said, no, come out of there. Keep your social distance from me and we'll talk about this. We could see into each other's eyes. Actually, that's one of the things that I'm enjoying right now, is that rather than just going in for a hug, when you don't, if you come into community that is used to hugging and sort of comes right up to each other, it's nice to have an opportunity, isn't it, to just stop. And in that stopping, it sort of truncates what our natural norm would be, that says, no, this is an extraordinary time. Let's take time to just look into each other's eyes. Let's take time to ask each other, how you doing? And what are you doing under those circumstances? Come on, back up out of there. Because everything we know is really a sign of grace, and that there is love and light that is guiding us through the valley of the shadow. This is such a time as we'd call that up. So this is a time for amazing grace. The title of this talk today is This and Something Better. Are you used to that phrase being this or something better, right? In a this or that paradigm, yes, that's a win-lose paradigm. And what if Jesus and all the saints and all the angels are calling us up right now to know that it's not that? Everything is for the highest good taking place. And so there is a this and a that to what's taking place right now. This and something better. I think I'm jazzed about what's going on. And I realize it, and that is not to make light at all of people who have been living at the effect of this virus, as have lived at the effect of viruses throughout millennia, or bacterially caused things, or whatever it is, but to say that there is something taking place that is much better. It's something is cooking on this planet. And I see it as the amazing grace. That's, the amazing grace, the sweet sound of something that is messaging you. Something messaging you in your heart and in your mind that is so important that we actually need time in, away from each other, time out from the norm, to come into a place where we really move into our homes and care for them more than we ever have. Be in conversation with the people that live around us. Stay distant enough that we can give each other space to really respond rather than knee-jerk react to what's taking place. And I recognize that we're not right now in a place of feeling the pressure here in this place in Florida yet. But I know each of us has friends who live in urban places, my children in New York, and they are feeling much more pressure of what's taking place in the hospital systems and what have you. And in light of that, how are they choosing to live? How are we choosing to live? Because there is more yet to come. We're having the opportunity to take time with that. So what's really taking place, I believe, is that we're being spiritually awakened. I am so not used to standing still, I have to say. Years and years and years of moving all over the place. So this is good. Because of what's happening, we're getting messaged by the universe, and we have all the systems were in place for this, by the way. All the technological systems were already in place so that we could communicate, we can project our services, record things, and have the opportunity to look at all the different takes on what's happening right now, and to really be in a place of researching our own experience and who we choose to be. I got an email from Oneness Temple, Oneness University in India. And this is something extraordinary because Amma Bhagwan sent this out as a conversation. And it's a conversation between God, so pure love, light, wisdom, however you would contextualize that, not as an anthropomorphic being who's dictating to us, but we're going to give this voice the name God. Is that all right with you? Okay. So God is having a conversation with society. That would be us. That would be all of us who are in this universe out here that listening to the voice of God. And regarding this viral challenge, God says, "My plans for you are always better than your own. Don't worry. I'm going to work this all out for your highest good." Society says, "Oh, we're not going to get anything done." And God says, "That's the point. You know how to keep spinning your wheels. You already know how to get out there and work and move and do, but you're never satisfied, it seems, with that. And so I've given you permission to stop." Diana Ross tried to do that years ago with "Stop in the name of love," but we didn't actually stop. So we're getting permission now to stop. I've cleared your calendars for you. Your worth isn't tied into busyness or accomplishment. All you have to do is take care of yourself and take care of each other. Society says, "But what does it all mean?" And God says, "It means you're human. It means that you have a wonderful opportunity to be the light in what can be a dark world. It means you're experiencing things. And it means that you can totally give your reliance to me. You can surrender your fear and your not knowing and give it to me." And society says, "But what are we supposed to do when we can't leave our homes?" And the voice of the divine says, "Rest. You're always so busy and overwhelmed. You're getting a break from your fast-paced, overscheduled lives to rest. Pray. Love your families. Be with your children. Be still and spend time with me." Society says, "You mean we're supposed to stay home with our kids all day?" And God says, "Yes, and you're going to be just fine." This time together is a rare gift. The rush of daily life has come to a halt. Play games. Bake cookies. What a concept. Work on projects you haven't had time for. Teach your children and yourself and others kindness, and show them grace by how you live. Show them how to endure difficult circumstances and always steer them toward love. Be still with each other. And society says, well, we better start hoarding everything that we can get our hands on then. And God says, prevention, yes. Precaution, yes. Preparedness, yes. But after that, it's time to put the needs of others before your own. When you see someone in need, help them. Offer them what you can. Don't worry. Haven't you always been cared for? Think about it. Haven't you always been cared for? Except when you've said no. I don't need that. You've even said, no, you don't need me. And now you can take care of someone else. Society says, but why? Why is this happening? And the voice of God says, to bring your attention back home. I'm bringing you together as families and neighbors and showing you patience and kindness and perseverance. You've got this. I'm always with you. Isn't that a beautiful take on it? Yeah. It's amazing. We're being given this opportunity to show up and to use our resources to move from nowhere to now here. Have you guys seen that before? So, no, have you seen it? Yeah? No? Okay, good. One person in this group has not seen it. I love it. It's where you have the words nowhere. Oh, okay. And you just take the W and slide it over here and say, now here. Oh, yeah, isn't that cool? Where you feel like there's no one and nothing. Yes, actually, everything is now here. I'm amazed that this has just taken one thing that has drawn us together, aren't you? One pivotal experience on the other side of the world. This is the place, by the way, where I wanted to give all my food when I didn't want to eat it. My mother would say something about the people in China who needed the food. I was always wondering how I could get it to them because I did not want that food, right? And China, on the other side of the earth plane, is giving us this experience through their experience, which has been a difficult one. There are people, I heard a show on NPR where they were interviewing a guy who has been, actually a stand-up comic in China, has been in his house since January. He said that he can't find anything funny about this experience. And yet there is a guy from New Jersey, he's either from New Jersey or New York, and he's a Jew, so a Jewish guy from New York or New Jersey has chosen, he was like, what should I do with my life? And guess what he decided to do? To become a Chinese stand-up comedian. This is absolutely true. So he went to China and learned Chinese so well that he is now one of their top Chinese comedians for stand-up comedy, and there aren't many of them. That they were interviewing on NPR, it was he was the person they were speaking with, and he placed a call to one of his friends who's a Chinese comedian. And he, in his quietude, says that he could not find anything to laugh about. But the guy who is the stand-up comedian, who's American, has made and is making videos and podcasts, and because he speaks Chinese, they're being broadcast in China. It's gone viral in China so that the people can see that there's something they can laugh about, something they can feel joy about. And one of the programs, they said in the interview, well, what have you done that they're loving? And the Chinese guy said, yeah, tell them what you did. He's like, well, I just researched and brought together some videos that Chinese people were making in their homes because they're quarantined so that they could laugh and play with the kids. And there was this one particular one where do you know what's it called when they, curling, yes, curling, where they do, yes. Where you use the broom to, it's a video of a family in China in their kitchen curling a teapot. across their floor. They're like, we never would have thought of that. But the Chinese population is finding ways to feel joy. We get to feel joy and bring that ability for our immune system to come back up to a higher level, right? And that's what we're doing now. We're all preparing by being outside, by being in the sun, by being with each other, by talking with our friends, by encouraging our families. And we're talking to people in the urban centers where they're having more difficulty in seeing more experiences with the virus. We're helping them, and they will be helping us when the time comes, because that's why we're here on the earth plane together. But sometimes we feel afraid. I did. When I first heard about this, I felt fear about two topics. One was my children, because they live in New York. One of my sons has already been exposed to the virus. He knows that. He's self-quarantining. It was a guy who had been staying with Tom Hanks, who came onto their set with their cast, Justin's cast and crew. And he's self-quarantining and doing yoga and cooking the things that he wants to cook and reading the books that he hadn't read with the knowledge that he's been exposed to it. That may be what happens to us. But what and who and how are we going to choose to live? What are we going to do? I don't know. When I'm afraid, I think in terms of what ifs. Do you do that? But what if I didn't buy enough toilet paper? Really? The whole rest of the world is looking at America right now and going, are you kidding me? Is that like the biggest priority, is that you have toilet paper in your house? They're just imagining us with these stacks of toilet papers. There are little, have you seen the things that you get? I got a text that was a bouquet of toilet paper. The best thing you can give an American. Really? No. We have soap and we have water and we don't need no daggum toilet paper. What we need is to remember that love is systemic in our lives. That what's been viral all the time has been this knowing that God is always with us, by whatever name. That there is love and there is peace that we can experience if we just take a time in, away from the outer world, away from the rush, away from the fear. And we're being called to use our gifts differently. In 1 Peter 4:10, it says, each of you, and you can take this into your heart, each of you should use whatever gifts you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Cindy, you've been given the gift of voice, of singing, of music. There will be places that you'll be called to sing that you've never sung before. There'll be things that you'll be called to do that you never thought you'd be asked to do. And I can give you an example. Pick me. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much. So our gym was just closed, and there were those of us in the gym who are like, thank goodness they haven't closed the gym. We can get out and do our cardio workout, and we can do our strength training. We'll stay healthy, and we'll fight off this virus. Oh, my goodness, aren't we so blessed? And then it was like, the gym is now closed in our neighborhood. So two of the women who go to the gym, and I usually take the cardio class and then go home and do my yoga on my own, right? Two of the women were walking through my neighborhood just yesterday, and they said, Diane, have you noticed that the gym is closed? And I said, yeah, I got the notice. And it's like, we can think because something happens like that, that means we can't work out. Right? And so they said, well, so we're deciding that we want to work out anyway and keep social distance between us. And do you have any ideas? Would you join us in doing that? And I said, absolutely love to do that. And then we all stood there going, like, and what do we do with that idea? And they looked at me and said, Diane, would you lead us in a cardio workout? And I was like, oh yeah, I used to teach aerobics in the Jane Fonda days. 40 years ago. Oh yeah, I remember all that. Absolutely. Why not? So this morning at 7:30, they convened, the first group convened in my driveway, because one of the neighbors didn't want us in the street. That would be too loud at 7:30 in the morning. I don't know what he thought we were going to be doing out there. I had no idea what he thought we were going to be doing, but we convened in my driveway, and we had a wonderful workout, 35, 40 minutes of workout. We brought yoga mats, laid down on the ground. We live in paradise. It's perfect for this. Socially distanced from one another, perfect. On our mats, our own mats, by ourselves, right? Doing our shavasana, ending it all with a beautiful stretch. And every one of those women, I have no idea what their spiritual background is, their religious background. Every one of them shared their intention as we began. I asked that of them. And so in this time, what would you dedicate this workout to? And the first woman, no idea where she even comes from. She lives down here, at least now. And she said, I want to dedicate my workout to world health, to us knowing that that's a priority for all of us, that we have a willingness to just, the stock market, corporations, whatever. We don't know what's going to happen, but we prioritize each other's health that much. We'll stop everything. I prioritize world health, and I dedicate my workout to that. The next woman, what would you like to dedicate yours to? And she said, to new beginnings. I want to dedicate mine to the new dawn, because the sun we could see was just rising in the east. This is a new day. This is the day the Lord has made. It's here for us to rejoice and be glad, and I dedicate that to the new beginnings that I know are taking place. I just don't know what they are yet, but to the new beginnings. Thank you so much. Namaste. And what will you, I said to a woman from the Netherlands joining us. And with this beautiful accent, she said, I dedicate mine to inner peace, that we might all remember that we can just breathe when we don't know what to do or where to go or what to say, that there is an inner peace within us. And the beautiful intention was said, and I capped it with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. And into our workout, we went together. Because we're not here to set things right, are we? Not at this point in time. We're here to see things rightly. It's a famous quote of Eric Butterworth, to see things rightly. And can you and I see through this experience? Yes, we can. For we have a third eye, we have inner vision, we have the ability to intuit. We can see that God is at work right now. And some amazing, I'm getting God bumps. Anybody out there getting God bumps? Yeah, I'm not giving the geese credit for this. This is God bumps, right? There is something amazing taking place. So what do we do? Who will you be? What will you do? And what will you be in order to lift up your immune system? It's your body. This is a temple of the living God. What will you do to better care for yourself? And I'm telling you, in the face of this, people are going to be doing things they never did before. I always wanted something that would cause me to do that, right? We've always wanted something as a society that would clean our air. Oh, no airplanes? That's interesting. Cutting them by what percentage? Oh, we want clean seas. Oh, cutting down the ship traffic for a while so we can see what that's like, and already the waters are clearing. Well, what would it be like, a whole group said, if we homeschooled our children? Because we don't like the way that the schools are schooling them, that's just to be able to pass a certain kind of test. We want them to learn practical skills, skills of living, what it is to run a house, what it is to cook, what it is to take care of ourselves. Oh, maybe we should homeschool our children all over the world for a little while and see what that's like. And then be able to prioritize our teachers and our education system when all things come back together, you see? I have no idea all the good that's taking place, but what can you and I do? And who will we be? So we can breathe the breath of God that calms our hearts. We can pray attention to life. We can move naturally, right? There are more people out walking right now than have ever been out walking. Some of the people I thought were not able to walk. Honestly, I'd never seen them before in my neighborhood, and there they are. They're my neighbors. I've never even seen them except at the picnic for the neighborhood. Like, wow, didn't know you guys could walk. That's so cool. Your feet reach the ground too. How cool is that? Out in the sun, out in the air, out breathing the breath of God. We can talk with each other. We can even see each other. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I mean, this is Jetsons, you guys. Do you remember the Jetsons? This is way out there. This is, taking the heel of your shoe off and being able to talk to people. This is incredible. We can do that all the way on the other side of the globe, right? We can WhatsApp with our voice, with our text. We can put the phone on and go, yo, hey, look at this chicken soup I made for the neighbors. Check it out. I'm doing ginger snap cookies for everybody. See? Look at that, right? We can share the good news. And that's what lifts our immune system. That's what causes serotonin to be raised in our system. That's what causes the endorphins to come up. This isn't rocket science. But it is, however, the teachings that you and I share here at Unity Church of Peace. That there is only one God. And that power and presence is within each and every individual. And according to the thoughts that we're holding, our life will cess out. What would you hold in this time? For through prayer and meditation, we connect with the divine, the source of all things, and we call that up into our lives. So we have to take action, don't we? You have to just get out and take a step. And when you take a step, are you going to take a step in the direction you don't want to go? Really? You're going to move in the direction you want to go. So you. One step after another step after another step. And that is the only way to get there. 2 Corinthians there says, God is able. So love is able. The systemic creative energy in you is able to make grace abound toward you. Would we be open and receptive to it? Ask for what you want and receive it. And so you guys know Michael Singer, you know of Michael Singer. He's here in Florida, and he's an amazing guy. He has a body prayer that he does, and it's like this. I don't know if you've seen Michael, if you've been in his presence, but this is what he does. Do that for me. Don't whack your neighbor, just like that, right? What he's doing is he's reaching back here. If you feel, and do this for yourself because we're socially spaced here. Touch your own body. There you go, right there. So you feel that right in the nape of your neck. There is at the top of your spine, which is your messaging area, right? All the messages move up through there. There's an indentation. Do you feel it? This is called the mouth of God. And from the mouth of God, that presence and power, Michael sends out that energy. He sends it out before he says anything. He sends it out sometimes as he's saying it. He sends it out afterwards. And I'm not saying I want to see all you guys walking around the streets doing this, because people might get a little freaked out. But in your mind's eye, see yourself reaching into, what would God do? What can I do now? Who could I be in the presence of this person who is perhaps grieving because something has happened that is untoward and they did not know was going to happen? How can I be with this person who's so afraid? Because wrong-making will not solve the issue. Seeing it rightly, being present with each other, albeit from a distance, that we're simply willing to be with each other through whatever level of grief we are taken, through whatever level of joy we are taken, as we recognize universally that we are the creators, the co-creators of our life experience. It is always this and something better taking place. And this is what Michael Singer says. Spirit never ages. The river of joy feeds you always, unless you've blocked it. And if you have, stop it. That's what he says. Stop it. Let it go. Nothing is wrong. God is here, always available. Just say, I'm here. I can handle this, and I want to. So in 3-part affirmation with me, I'm here.
I'm here.
I can handle this.
I can handle this.
And I want to.
And
I want to. Thank you, God. So in the midst of these conditions, and we are not underneath these conditions, in the midst of it, facing it head on, not hiding from anything, you and I know the truth, and it is the truth that always sets us free. So I just say to you this week, stay calm, but also stay tuned to your church. Stay tuned to Unity Church of Peace. There are going to be things being broadcast to you. There are going to be ways that you can connect with people. There are going to be ways you can support this town of Northport, this state of Florida, these United States, this global community that you and I are privileged and honored to be a part of, and to be a stand for grace and the greater good that's taking place. Receive ye the Holy Spirit. Thank you, God. Bless you.